welcome to the award-winning podcast, the Lonestar Collective, the official podcast of the Texas Cannabis Collective. I'm your host, Chris Crisolia, and this week I am joined by our very special guest, Reagan Hatch, who is the co-founder of CannaSite. Welcome, Reagan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're happy to have you. Please introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your co-founder, how y'all decided to get into the cannabis game and what you actually do and all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Well, my name's Reagan, obviously. You're going to need to edit that out. Sorry. I'm from Texas, born and raised, small town called Muleshoe, over in West Texas, not too far from Lubbock and the eastern border of New Mexico. And I went to college in Dallas at SMU, and I met my business partner there. We were buddies. And as our website reads, we bonded over a bong and a beer. And so we remained friends after we graduated and went our separate ways, started families, and Karen ended up moving to Seattle. And it was not too long after she relocated from Florida to Seattle that we started talking, connected on the app. It's not very popular anymore, Marco Polo. It's like a walkie-talkie app of all things to connect on. And we just started kind of commiserating over where we were in our life. We were both at a crossroads. We'd both recently left our jobs that we'd been at for quite a while. I was doing business development for a fiberglass tank manufacturer, and she was running an agency in Florida. It wasn't hers, but she was essentially running it. And so it was just time for us to leave for different reasons, but very similar reasons. And we were just kind of commiserating over working for other people and, working for companies that didn't have values we believed in, maybe didn't have values at all. And so we just started thinking, why can't we start our own company built and based on our own values? And then we thought, okay, actually we can. And so that's what we did. And so she was kind of moonlighting and doing some contract work for a couple of growers up in Seattle. And one of them asked her to go to a trade show to do some marketing. And she walked in and she couldn't believe what she saw. Terrible marketing. A lot of these people, a lot of the people that were exhibiting at the trade show were farmers. They didn't know anything about marketing and how to put a booth together, what's important, how to get your message out. And that's when it dawned on her. Let's start a cannabis marketing agency. And so she called me up and asked me, and I said, I'm in Texas. Cannabis isn't legal here. This is before the Farm Bill even, and really early 2018.
Okay.
And I said, I've really got to think about it a while. And she said, no, I understand. Take your time. Get back to me whenever you're ready. And so I talked to my husband about it and went to bed. And I woke up the next morning and I called her and said, I'm in. So it didn't take me long, literally one night.
It was
was
that
like,
quick.
Screw it, why not? Yeah, that
cool.
sounds fun. And so that's what we did. So we're essentially just a small boutique agency, female founded, female owned and operated. And Karen lives in Seattle. I'm in Texas, and our really talented developer Becca is in Florida. And then we have some really valuable team members that they're not full-time, but that work with us, like Bree Smith, around the country. And so the great part about being so spread out is that one of us is almost always online. And so that's really great so that we can be really responsive to for our clients. But it's also just works out because we're doing everything online anyway. And most of us are moms. At least we're all dog moms if we don't have actual little kids running around. And so we're just kind of getting to do this on our own terms. And by the way, the values we built our company on were to be fast, transparent, and responsive. And so I'm really proud of what we built. And I think you could ask any of our customers if we hold those values to a high regard, and they would say yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Correct me if I'm wrong. I know the name of your website is CannaSite. Is that
Yeah,
also the company name is CannaSite?
it is, yes.
Okay.
When we started, it was CannaSite Co. And then we were able to buy the CannaSite domain. And so, we go by either. Um, so, yes.
Okay, cool. So that being said, you decided to go into business. You've made the plunge, so to speak, and obviously you're being successful. So be a little more detailed on exactly what the services are that you offer and what you can do for maybe some of our listeners who might need your services.
Okay, yes, I'd love to. So, when we were developing the company, we knew that we didn't want to do it like the traditional agency. We wanted to charge one-time flat rates and do it quickly. Nobody has time to spend 6 months or more on a website project, and that's what the traditional agency does. Is they're slow, they take a long time, and they charge boatloads of money. And so we build websites in one day, 1 week, or 1 month. All of our websites include initial optimization. So basically, we're telling Google and Bing your website exists, giving you a little head start. And we also train our clients on how to maintain it so they don't have that associated cost to incur with maintaining a website. They're
Okay.
free to host it. We absolutely do not believe in holding a website hostage. And if you need help or support or you want us to host it, we can. We just don't obligate our clients to ever spend more money with us unless they choose to. And then
Sure.
outside of that, we have ongoing SEO campaigns, which basically gets more eyeballs on your website, and
Yeah.
email marketing so you can stay in front of your existing customer base.
Cool. That's all excellent services for people that don't understand how websites work and how SEO works and all that kind of stuff. And by no means do I have any real clue. I've just learned a little bit about it because before I got involved with the collective and became a board member and started hosting the podcast, I had a podcast of my own. So I had purchased a domain, had a website that I built, through I can't even remember what service I used. I looked at like five or six, but
Yeah.
it was basically free, uh, and then to host it was like $39 a month, but it was a lot to learn in a real fast period of time. And
Yeah.
and by no means did I learn it all. I mean, my website looked good and everything while I had it. And of course, they're hounding me right now because it's time to renew my domain. And I'm like, no, I don't need it anymore.
Sure they are. Yeah. I'm sure they are.
But, you know, um, to have somebody that can do all of that for you, I'm here to testify would be well worth spending a little money on.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And I like that you did it yourself. And today it's great because today the website in a box platforms make it really easy for people that may be technically savvy or just on a shoestring budget, to get in there and launch a website to get their name and brand out. And so yeah, we think that's great. And we also want to empower our clients to be able to do that, even if we build it. Every websites aren't meant to set it and forget it. You really have to nurture them. And in order to succeed, you have to keep them updated, first of all, but
Yeah,
you need to add content to it. They're not static. And the more content, the more regularly you add it, the better your website is going to perform. And so
absolutely.
we're here to help clients do that, or we can do it for them. And in cannabis, it's real. There's a lot of rules and regulations, and it's not federally legal either. And so there's a lot of things to watch out for. And look, I talk to people almost every week that are on GoDaddy or Wix or some other platform that is not cannabis friendly, and they've been kicked off. And so you can't take your website with you. It's
Yeah.
theirs. They own it because you built it on their platform. So
Yeah.
what we offer, our website's built on WordPress, which is free. It will always be free, and we don't hold them hostage, so our clients still own them. And so, but also that nobody can take that website down. And so you don't have to worry about that. And also, if you're processing payments, if you have an e-commerce or an online store, you really need to be on WordPress. And some people will argue with me about that. You know, Squarespace, it's tricky to find a processor to have a cannabis website on Squarespace. It's possible. And then Shopify is another one, but
Yeah.
we're so design heavy. We tend to, you know, kind of not want to work on Shopify as much because it's just not as pretty.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I want to get into that a little bit more in depth because that was something that interests me of some of the services you offer is the e-commerce portion. But we've got to take a quick sponsor break. And so we're going to do that right quick. When we come back, I want to dive into that. So
sounds good.
All right. So we're going to take a quick sponsor break, folks. And when we come back, we're going to do just that. We're going to dive into the whole e-commerce conversation with the cannabis business and the hurdles that there are to traverse when we come back right after this.
We welcome everyone to the 2023 Texas Marijuana March and Freedom Festival on Saturday, October 14th in downtown Fort Worth at Burnett Park. Come join other Texans as we march against bad cannabis laws exercising our First Amendment rights.
Howdy, Colt Power here. These days, many people are choosing to add CBD to their wellness routine. Why? Some like CBD for how it may help them with their focus. Others enjoy the way the plant compound may assist them with their sore muscles and relaxation. For me, CBD has been a game changer in keeping my old sports injuries managed so I can work out and be present for my family. If you've ever been curious about CBD, I invite you to check out our Texas-grown, Texas-made products at powerbiofarms.com. That's power, BIOPHARMS.com.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast, the official podcast of the Texas Cannabis Collective, distributed on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and many more, to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. And now, back to this week's show.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective, the two-time award-winning podcast of the Texas Cannabis Collective. I'm joined this week by our special guest, Reagan Hatch, co-founder of the website building company called CannaSite. Welcome back, Reagan.
Thanks.
We were, as we went into the break, we were starting to dive into the whole e-commerce conversation, and you said a couple things that made buttons go off in my head. The whole Shopify thing. Our name, obviously, as the Lonestar Collective podcast is the podcast, but the Texas Cannabis Collective is the owner of the podcast, and we are a 501c4 organization, right? Excuse me. So you would think we wouldn't have any issues because we're a nonprofit, right? But we have cannabis in our name. So guess what? We have been shut down by Shopify we've been shut down by what was it was just three different credit card service companies through our WordPress store trying to do credit card transaction processing and whatnot. It's really, and the only thing we're selling so far, I mean, we've talked about getting like some hats made and some shirts made and stuff to sell, to kind of promote the organization, but and help raise money for the advocacy work that we do. But all we're selling so far are vendor spaces at an event. And they're like,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
no.
I know. It's crazy.
I'm just,
Yeah, like you're not even touching the plant and they shut you down. Same thing happened to us. We were processing payments for websites. It's like not even a tangible product, and they shut us down. And it's so frustrating. And all of these people I talk to that get shut down and their websites taken away, they're running a business. They're living off of this revenue. They have a whole company to support, and so they can't afford to not be selling online. And it's great to be able to help so many people that go through this, and because our turnaround time, because we build websites so fast, and it's really rewarding to get to help so many people to get set up the proper way in cannabis. And it's, unfortunately, it's not well known what you need to do for your digital marketing plan in cannabis, and it's a giant component of your business plan. And there's a lot of do's and a lot of don'ts. And so I just want to encourage everyone out there to do your research and make sure that you're not investing money, and especially your time, into something you're going to get shut down and you're just going to have to start over. Yeah. And thankfully, throughout our 5+ years history, we've met a lot of awesome people in the industry that have really cool businesses, and a lot of great partners too. So I'm able to introduce clients and even other people. Sometimes we're not the right team for people. I get that. We're not right for everybody, but still introduce them to great high-risk payment processors. And then you even go into that area, that arena, and some of them accept CBD and hemp products. Others won't let you sell paraphernalia. Others will accept cannabis and psilocybin. And it's like, what is it? It's like finding your soulmate. I don't know how you do it,
Yeah, it's
you got to
crazy.
die a little first, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, just like, trying to find a bank, even as a nonprofit organization, because I'm
exactly.
not only a board member, but I'm the treasurer as well. So I deal with all that good stuff. But, there's not a lot of banks out there that will even touch you.
There's not.
So
yeah. And
it's not fair, is what I say. It's not fair, from a business perspective, because you don't have the protections of the banking institution. If you've got to do all cash transactions, like it is in a lot of places, not necessarily in Texas, but I know in other states there's still all cash transactions, and that's crazy to me. But
it is. And
so what are some of the ways, like you said, there are high risk processors out there? Who are some of these processors that people can reach out to?
Well, there's a lot of them. And by the way, shoot me an email and I'm happy to connect you with any of them. But we've done a lot of work with Vector Payments, Flex Payment Solutions, and then e-payments, PayRio. Two of those companies I just named are female founded and owned, by the way, for all the people out
Cool.
there that like to do that. And then there's so many, and I'm forgetting one off the top of my head, and I'm going to have to make an apology for it if he ever hears this podcast. But there's a
It's
lot of
okay.
great ones out there. The Flex Payment Solutions, I don't know where it's based, but I know some of the principals are in the Dallas area, and so they're pretty active in the Texas cannabis industry. And so I obviously got to throw Flex out there. They're
Well,
great.
I'm sure
Reach
they
out to
will
Matt.
appreciate. I'm sure they'll appreciate that shout out.
Yeah.
Well, we're at that point where we got to take another sponsor break right quick. When we get back, I want to talk a little bit about, where people can find your company and how they can reach out to you, what all services you offer, and all that good stuff one more time so that everybody can be sure and make note.
Sounds great.
All right. So we're going to take another sponsor break right quick. And when we get back, we're going to do just that. We're going to talk about where you can find CannaSite. And it's pretty easy. I found them pretty easy. But we're going to let Reagan tell us all about that good stuff when we get back.
We welcome everyone to the 2023 Texas Marijuana March and Freedom Festival on Saturday, October 14th in downtown Fort Worth at Burnett Park. Come join other Texans as we march against bad cannabis laws exercising our First Amendment rights.
Howdy, Colt Power here. These days, many people are choosing to add CBD to their wellness routine. Why? Some like CBD for how it may help them with their focus. Others enjoy the way the plant compound may assist them with their sore muscles and relaxation. For me, CBD has been a game changer in keeping my old sports injuries managed so I can work out and be present for my family. If you've ever been curious about CBD, I invite you to check out our Texas-grown, Texas-made products at powerbiofarms.com. That's power, BIOPHARMS.com.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast, the official podcast of the Texas Cannabis Collective, distributed on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and many more, to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. And now, back to this week's show.
Welcome back to the Lone Star Collective, the official podcast of the Texas Cannabis Collective. I'm your host, Chris Grisolia, and I'm joined this week by our special guest, Reagan Hatch, the co-founder of CannaSite. Welcome back, Reagan.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Before we go into all the details about your company, there is one more thing as a fellow Texan that just popped into my head during the sponsor break that I would like to hear your opinion on.
Okay.
What is your advice for our fellow Texans who maybe haven't ever gotten involved and are supportive of the movement for legalization and medical expansion at the very least? What advice and kind of words of encouragement can you give to our fellow Texans on how they can get involved and how easy it is and that it's really very low risk?
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing and a funny conversation in Texas because we were raised to know and learn that cannabis, marijuana, Mary Jane, ganja, it's bad. It's a drug, especially a gateway drug. If you use cannabis, then you're going to start using everything else.
Oh, geez.
So I think the best thing to do is to do some research. There's a lot of ways that you can consume cannabis, and they're not all for everybody.
Yep.
And reach out, and I guarantee you, if you're navigating these waters right now and you're wondering, like, should I try it? I've heard a lot of great things. I'm really interested. Ask your circle of friends. I guarantee you that somebody in there is using some cannabis or CBD. So just start slow and do your research, and whatever you do, don't consume too much your first time or your second time.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, I think you were talking about consumption, but I would also just like to say that if you're more of a cannabis proponent and you want to see things change in Texas itself, it's really easy to make a difference. All you have to do is Google who your local representative is and send them an email or leave them a voicemail when the time comes. It's
Yep.
so important. And you can also donate to great organizations like the Texas Cannabis Collective or the Texas Hemp Coalition and Texas Normal, and go on and on. It's really easy to make your voice heard that way. And just going back to the consumption part, cannabis is such an amazing plant. I've learned so much about plant medicine since we started this company, and I've heard so many stories about how it directly impacted some of my clients' lives, and just gave them their quality of life back, or they're in it and they're starting their business because of somebody they knew was highly impacted by
Yeah.
this plant that heals and helps. And now you're going to get in trouble because I'm making medical claims, but it's so beneficial and it's just amazing. And so there's no reason that it shouldn't be accessible to everybody.
Yeah, just to clarify, you're not making any claims that we haven't made multiple times.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the reason why I got involved. But
I don't. I would love to hear it.
This guy behind me, he was 23, had suffered with seizures for many years. In 2016, he came to me and asked what I knew about cannabis marijuana at the time was the word we used. Excuse me, but what I knew about that and epilepsy and seizures. And I said, kid, if you didn't realize it when you were growing up, I smoked that shit every day for 26 years. I wasn't at the time, but it had. And I said, if you didn't figure that out, use that shit every day. I said, but I'll be honest with you. I said, I don't have a clue outside of what the stories you've heard, and we had a 3 or 4 month conversation, went back and forth. Basically I told him, I know it won't hurt you. If you want to try it, we can get it. That's not a problem. But his choice was he did not want to break the law. And we lost him in June of 2016 to a seizure. And
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. That was when I got involved. So, not everybody has a story like that, right? But
No.
There are a lot of people that do have stories that are like that or similar. And that's the only reason why I bring it up. And people who watch the show probably get tired of hearing me bring that story up. But, you got to, sometimes the guest says something that just cues it in. Excuse me. But talking about all the people that have been helped, when I first started my advocacy, all it was me doing the research. And then I said, oh, crap, I've got to get this out there. So I made a Facebook page and a YouTube channel, and I just started making videos and reading the literal research papers to the camera, and for not just epilepsy and seizures, but a whole wealth of things that I was coming across, through my
Yeah.
research. But I have had countless people, and it's one of the things that keeps me going. Of course, he's the number one thing, obviously, but I've had countless people could just message my page on Facebook and say, "Hey, just wanted to let you know that our daughter's life is so much better because we learned what we learned from you. We would never thought to have tried this avenue," and just things like that.
That's
And
awesome.
it's countless numbers. And then
Yeah.
just the
So
numbers,
rewarding.
and just the numbers of people that I've met, online and in person, uh, that tell me constantly the difference cannabis has made in their life. And I mean, you can't argue with it when you talk to these people and see the look on their face, and that they're alive, they feel good, when they were taking pharmaceuticals that made them feel like crap, and
Yeah.
made them gain weight and other bad side effects and whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Just no
it's
quality of life before, and then it's a gift to them. So
yeah, and his story was, he didn't have any like regularity to his seizures when they started, so we didn't medicate. It wasn't until he started driving, he had a seizure behind the wheel, when he finally went back to the doctor and started on medication. And the medication had the opposite effect, what it should have. Of course, their argument was, well, now they're regular, so we're controlling the seizures. That's the first step, is what they would say. And it's like, but he would go sometimes a year and a half without one. Now he's having one every 6 months. And you could set your watch by it, but
Yeah.
that's the first step of control.
And how much was the medicine he was taking too? They
Well,
were
I mean,
prescribing them.
yeah, they changed the medication like every 6 months for 5.5 years. Every time they changed it, his seizures got worse and more frequent. So you tell me what it was doing for him. Nothing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the medication is what did him in the end, because he went from sporadic like that. I mean, he might have one a month apart, but then he might not have another one for 18 months, and then, excuse me. But when he started right before he passed, I didn't know this even, because they were kind of keeping it from me. But his older brother told me, he said, right there toward the end, he was having them like a couple of weeks. And they were always full Grand Mal, out for a good 15 to 30 seconds, and that's not good on a brain, no matter on anybody.
And then the recovery time added to that. Just, I can't imagine.
Yeah. So yeah, it's imperative that people get involved and tell their stories, but it's also imperative, if you're just one of those people that just supports it, be vocal about it. Tell like you said, Google your lawmakers and leave a voicemail, send an email. You don't have to go to Austin to make your position known.
You don't. And I know a lot of people listening probably don't want to go to Austin, but it's really easy. You can do it from the comfort of your bed if you want. You don't even have to you don't have to be wearing pants to support this legislation.
Don't have to comb your hair. Don't have to put any makeup on. None of that stuff. I mean, they've even had it as easy enough on the House side, where you could put testimony in when they have a committee hearing online now. I don't know if they're going to continue that. I hope they do, but I mean, that's been great the last couple sessions. Thank you, COVID. But anyway, one good thing out of that. But at any rate, Before we have to close out the whole show and we run out of time, please tell our listeners and our audience where they can find CannaSite and what kind of things they need to look for you for.
Sure. So you can find CannaSite at www.cannasite.com. You can reach me, Reagan, Reagan, at CannaSite.com. And we are on all of the social channels for the most part, not TikTok, but at CannaSite. So you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, and whatever else is out there. And then what was your other question?
Just
I know you asked me something.
What are all the things that they need to come look for you for?
Okay. Yeah. And so please go visit our website, see what we're all about. And if you built your own website or you're in the midst of it, we also have a free website post-launch checklist that we'll send to you so you can make sure that you're ready and Google approved for your venture. And congrats if you're in that boat right now. But essentially, we keep our menu small. We build websites quickly. We offer SEO campaigns so that you can get more eyeballs on your website that convert. And we offer email marketing. And then we have a really great team of storytellers to create content for the websites and SEO campaigns for the blogs and the emails. And that's it. For everything else, we have some great partners out there, and I'm happy to make introductions to anybody looking for cannabis branding or packaging or what payment processors, whatever. I like to connect people, and it's Texas, I'm just, let's go Texas, let's legalize. And that's one reason I joined the Texas Hemp Coalition, was because it was time for me to walk the walk. And so I'm happy to be here and appreciate the opportunity to share my company and my opinions on cannabis today.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Reagan, for joining us. It's been a pleasant conversation, and you've had some very good points for some people to pay attention to. Some of them are the same points we keep making, but it's always nice to hear the collaboration on that fact, right?
Yes.
Like I keep saying, if we could just get that 67% of Texas that says in the polls and the surveys, they always say, 67% is for full legalization. That's over 19 million people, folks, in Texas.
Yeah. Where are they in November?
Where are they during the session?
Still waiting. Yeah. Anytime. Where are you now?
Absolutely. Well, it's been a great conversation. I want to thank you again for joining us, and stay in touch and let us know how things are going in the future. If you want to come back on and join us again, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, no, I had a great time, Chris. I really appreciate you having me, and it was great to learn more about you. And I will keep in touch, and I'm sure I'll see you around too.
Oh, I'm sure you will. We've got our big event coming up in October in Fort Worth, the 2023 Texas Marijuana March and Freedom Festival. If you can make it out for that, that's a pretty big event that we put on. So it's us with DFW Normal in conjunction. We kind of do it together. But
I'm going to be in Dallas anyway that weekend, so I will make my way over.
Cool beans. We're there from 12 to 7 all day, pretty much. So.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know.
We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thank you. That's going to do it for this show this week, folks. And we thank you for joining us. And as always, we hope you join us again.